I'm sure you've noticed. This is the thing that they tend to do. Check it out. What's up, everybody? This is Cedric with Actual Christianity. Thank you for taking time out of your day to check out this video. I want to make sure that it's well worth it for you. This video in particular is for Christians. Christians, have you noticed the thing when people who either atheistic or agnostic, they say that they're basically not religious.
Yeah, right.
There's no God, and that, Christianity is essentially a lie, or the Bible's not true, and all this sort of stuff. They basically go to great lengths to separate themselves from the rest of us ignorant, stupid, myth-believing plebeians. They do all that, but have you noticed the thing that they do? I'm sure you've noticed. This is the thing that they tend to do. Check it out.
In Toronto and Vancouver, it's like crazy, insanely bad. But I don't know about the rest of it. It's horrible. Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
Bree says she'll be in London in October, where she'll sleep with a century of her followers, 100 followers. And she says she has thousands of volunteers. So, right. Okay. I mean, Jesus Christ.
To be so far removed from our foolish way of thinking as Christians, they really like to proclaim God and Jesus a lot. There's an awful lot of Christian talk that comes out from time to time from people that are not even Christian. And I think there's a reason for that. There's a mathematician named David Berinsky who basically said this during an interview with Ben Shapiro. This is what he said. He said, quote, "I was talking to Christopher Hitchens. We got together for just a few days, and I said, when you look in the mirror, Christopher, to whom do you owe that face? Do you think it was just created for you, a special act of creation? Or is there 2,000 years of Judeo-Christian tradition behind your face?" He didn't have an adequate answer, but he understood what I was getting at. He probably didn't think it was a particularly penetrating question, but I think it's a very penetrating question. All these guys who proclaim themselves enthusiastic defenders of reason and the Enlightenment, of progress, the forward march of humanity, the infallible nature of their own moral sentiments, are simply a part of a very long Judeo-Christian tradition, and they are unwilling to see in their own faces the long tendrils stretching back into antiquity. And this is a historical failure. It's a failure of the imagination. David is absolutely right about this. They're more Christian than they think, is essentially what I'm saying. It's really easy, okay? It's super easy to stand back and say that I'm not Christian and my morals come from somewhere else entirely, blah, blah, blah. But the truth is, historically, that's not real. It's simply not real. Our notions of egalitarianism, the notions of human dignity and all these things. The truth is, the overwhelming majority of the moral systems we have in place now have a foundation built on a bunch of Judeo-Christian principles. That's the reality of it. It's like basically saying that slavery is wrong and therefore it's wrong even if it's in the Bible, while being completely ignorant to the fact that Christianity is responsible for the abolition of slavery in the first place.
Why are you running?
To be so set on logic, exercising rationality, you know what I mean? They really refuse to acknowledge the Christian structure that they stand on practically every single day. I know a lot of you guys have noticed people basically saying, "Oh my God," what? Or, "Oh, thank God." How many times have you heard people who claim that there's no God essentially proclaim God often? I mean, it happens so often. very few people who claim to have these positions actually live out those positions completely. Now, as far as a lifestyle, sure, but in the way they speak, in the way they behave, the way they react with one another, it's the exact opposite. The truth is, practically nobody on the secular side of things, the materialistic side of things, essentially treats one another as just material.
I shouldn't.
Energy bumping into one another, or matter in motion and nothing more. Like, people don't treat one another like that. Like, their position of having essentially only being what they can see, what they can measure, what they can taste, touch, smell, that sort of stuff. Like, the truth is, nobody really believes and operates that way. Like, nobody really operates as though everything is essentially meaningless. That the universe is just filled with this pitiless indifference that it's nothing. No one really lives like that. Very few atheists are willing to admit that. Very few atheists are willing to admit that a lot of their moral compass is built on Judeo-Christian stuff. They say, no, it's really built on society, blah, 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 but that's as far as they go. They're not willing to look into the historicity of how society came to these conclusions on how we should treat one another in the first place. You know what I mean? Anyway, this is just a really quick video. Let me know what you guys think about this. Every time I hear it, I'm just like, there we go. All right. To not believe in Jesus, you sure do say his name a whole lot. This is Cedric with Actual Christianity. A like is appreciated, a comment is appreciated, and a sub is also appreciated. See you guys in the next video.